The Phalanx CIWS is many things: a gatling-gun-based close-in weapon system, a defensive weapon, an offensive weapon, and most importantly, it's a lifesaver. One that the crew of the USS Gravely will not forget in a long, long time. This is a story of how the Phalanx CIWS stepped up when its operators needed it most in an almost catastrophic event that took place on the Red Sea. The Red Sea. In response to Israel's attacks on Gaza, the Houthi militants from Yemen have persistently caused chaos for vessels navigating the Red Sea, potentially impacting a third of global shipping. The U.S., at the helm of an international naval coalition, embarked on a mission to reestablish maritime order. However, the Houthis resisted, leading to the inception of a new conflict between the U.S. and the Houthis. The Houthis escalated their aggression, targeting not only civilian vessels, but also the coalition's warships. Over several months, the Houthis deployed explosive-laden kamikaze drones, anti-ship cruise missiles, and even an anti-ship ballistic missile against the coalition, which is formerly known as Prosperity Guardian. In retaliation, the coalition intercepted the Houthi attacks and launched counterattacks of their own. Despite this, the Houthis remained undeterred and continued their assaults. On January 30th, one of the Houthis' attacks forced a U.S. Navy ship to do something that no American ship has ever done before. It was a Tuesday night, and the ship was the USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. A Houthi cruise missile was launched to strike this ship. Seconds away from disaster, as the missile hurled towards the Gravely, the Phalanx CIWS kicked into action and shot it down. This was the first time in history the Phalanx was used in actual conflict. This means so much more than it sounds. The Phalanx is a last line of defense weapon. If it hadn't done what it did, the USS Gravely was as good as gone. It saved the lives of the crew of the USS Gravely that night, and that's exactly what it was designed to do, to be what works when all else fails. Prior to the USS Gravely incident, U.S. warships defeated dozens of Houthi missile attacks using longer-range defenses, likely the standard SM-2, standard SM-6, and evolved Sea Sparrow missiles. These defensive missiles engage their targets from at least 8 miles away. The Phalanx is close as 1 mile away, so it's able to wait for when the target is just about to hit. Therefore, the Phalanx, despite seeing less action than virtually every other weapon on the ship, remains a crucial armament for the U.S. Navy ships. So crucial, in fact, that every single surface ship of the U.S. Navy, except the new Zumwalt-class destroyers and San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock, it's also used by the navies of 15 other nations, including the navies of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United Kingdom. The Phalanx is a weapon of choice globally, which is a bit too good for a weapon that's having its first kill after over 4 decades of service. In fact, if this is its first kill, what's the weapon been doing in service for the last 44 years, right? Well, let's find out. 44 years of the Phalanx. 44 years ago, in 1980, the Phalanx close-in weapon system entered service. More commonly called the Phalanx CIWS, this weapon was a massive upgrade to the guns used in wars just a few decades prior. During the era of World War II, the policy was arming U.S. ships with as many guns as possible, from bow to stern. A Gearing-class destroyer, the backbone of the wartime destroyer fleet, was equipped with 6 5-inch guns, 12 40mm guns, and 11 20mm guns. During the conflict, these guns would fire so many rounds into the sky, they'd form a blanket of steel to prevent Japanese kamikazes and other aerial threats from getting near the fleet. Decades of advancements in technology changed this policy. The U.S. Navy could now focus less on quantity and more on quality. Thanks to radar and automation, the U.S. Navy went from the inefficiency of tens of guns firing sporadically into the air to a gun with a computer brain that could detect multiple targets, compute their distance, speed, and flight path, and accurately engage them in order of priority. A gun called the Phalanx. With a single Phalanx, the U.S. Navy had the lethality of over 20 older guns. It'd be the start of a completely new era of dominance on the seas, as more and more defense and offense weapons continued to take shape. By the time the U.S. Navy was done, the service had an entire suite of weapons so powerful the Phalanx didn't need to shoot down a single threat for 44 years. This is because for a target to threaten the Phalanx, it must first overcome or evade multiple layers of other air defense systems. A typical U.S. Navy ship has at least 3 of these defensive layers. The first layer is the formidable Aegis combat system, complete with SM-2 and SM-6 air defense missiles for eliminating threats. The second layer is the evolved Sea Sparrow missile, and in some cases a 5-inch gun system. Phalanx, as well as the jamming component of the Surface Electronic Warfare Improvement Program and the NOCA decoy system, form the third and last defense layer. Should the first 2 defensive layers do their jobs as designed, which they usually do, the Phalanx would hardly ever need to fire a single round. And this has been the case for the longest, until a few months ago with the Houthi missile flying towards USS Gravely. However, this maiden Phalanx action could have come sooner, much sooner. A fair number of close calls that called on the intervention of the Phalanx have occurred, but surprisingly, they all never ended in a kill. The first opportunity to shoot down an incoming missile came in 1987. A frigate had detected an Iraqi aircraft in the region but did not consider it a threat and therefore did not activate defensive systems, including Phalanx. It would be a fatal mistake. Moments later, the aircraft launched Exocet anti-ship cruise missiles, killing 37 crew members. In 1997, the weapon was fooled by chaff as it tried to take out a Silkworm anti-ship missile, and in 1996, the weapon shot down a friendly during practice, a world apart from action in live conflict. Enough has been said about the Phalanx's history, its rise to stardom, and what made it seemingly idle for so long. Now it's time to take a closer look at the capabilities that make this weapon the ultimate line of defense for the most powerful Navy in the world. It's time to take a closer look at the Mk-15 Phalanx Close-In Weapon System. Mk-15 Phalanx Close-In Weapon System. The Mk-15 Phalanx Close-In Weapon System is an automated gun-based close-in weapon system designed to defend military watercraft automatically against incoming threats such as aircraft, missiles, drones, or anything else that comes dangerously close to the ship. Looking under the hood, the weapon combines a 20mm M61A1 Gatling gun, the same 6-barreled gun mounted on the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon fighter jets, with a Ku-band radar and an advanced computerized fire control system. When installed on a ship, the $13 million weapon system automatically scans the skies for incoming aerial threats, and on spotting a threat, it simply destroys it. The Phalanx is the only deployed close-in weapon system capable of autonomously performing its own search, detect, evaluation, track, engage, and kill assessment functions. That is, it needs no human intervention or permission to even fire. The need to combine both radar and ballistics data and fire accurately at a threat just seconds before it impacts the ship rules out human participation. Only a computer can react quickly enough. The Phalanx also can be integrated into existing ship combat control systems to provide additional sensor and fire control support to other installed ship weapon systems. A land variant of the weapon exists too, and this version is used by the U.S. Army to detect and counter rocket, artillery, and mortar systems. The land version is armed with self-destruct high-explosive incendiary tracer shells, while the naval version, the one with the recent kill, boasts armor-piercing tungsten or depleted uranium shells with discarding sabots. The 6-barrel Gatling gun of the weapon fires up to 4,500 rounds per minute, which is equivalent to 75 rounds every single second. And these rounds can go as far as 3.4 miles to take out their targets. As threats and technologies evolve, the Phalanx has also evolved over the years. New radars, sensors, and gun barrels are only some of the upgrades that the weapon has undergone since it was originally introduced in the 20th century. And now in the 21st century, the Phalanx CIWS continues to leave its mark. It continues to save the lives of the operators that oil it, the ships that house it, and the people that support it. If you support this weapon, subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. Thanks for watching.